Of all the many resources you will use, both during your studies for your degree or diploma, and later on as you apply your studies in your professional activities, this one is by far the most important, the library. This is the resource that enables you to draw on the ideas and the methods and the results of all the scientists who have gone before you, if you know how to extract information efficiently from it. Whether the technical library you will be using is a specialised one, such as this local State Electricity Commission library, or a very large one, such as the State Library of Victoria, you will find many of the basic features are similar. In this videotape, I want to introduce you to some of these features and to three key sections of the library: the library catalogue, the reference collection, and the serials or journals section of the library. I'm going to use the Gippsland Institute Library as an example, but most of what you see will be similar in other technical libraries. Obviously, in a short videotape, we cannot present very much detailed information. So please use the videotape in conjunction with Book 2 for Unit 1162, titled Information Classification. The study guide using the library in this booklet includes much more detail on the structure and organisation of the library. I suggest that you carry this book with you whenever you are visiting the library to assist you in obtaining information efficiently. The section of the library which is our usual starting point in seeking information is the library catalogue. In the Gippsland Institute Library, books purchased up to August 1980 are listed on this card catalogue. Books purchased after that date are listed on a microfiche catalogue, which I'll say more about shortly. In the card catalogue, a book usually has at least 2 entries and sometimes several more. One of these is according to the author's surname. Another is for the title of the book. These are filed together in the catalogue. For example, a book with the title Masculinity and Femininity is filed next to an entry for the author George E. Mace, a book on theory and problems of continuum mechanics. Although the filing is done alphabetically, that is not quite as simple as it sounds, and there are some notes in the study guide which you should read. For instance, in an alphabetical system, you might expect to find this entry filed before this one. In fact, they are the opposite, and the study guide explains why. Another important entry is the subject entry, and these are filed in a separate set of drawers. Sometimes you might not be sure which is the appropriate subject heading to consult. For instance, will books on cars be filed under cars or under A for automobiles? Librarians use a reference book to ensure the use of correct and uniform subject headings. The particular reference book used by a library should be available for you to consult if you wish. There are various systems in use around the world for actually cataloguing books. That is, classifying them and deciding which books they are to be placed with on the library shelves. Still the most common in Australian libraries is the Dewey Decimal System. This classifies books according to subject with a number of subdivisions. For instance, all books in the pure sciences subject area have Dewey numbers in the 500s and will be shelved in order of their numbers. The resource article which accompanies your study guide has more information on this system, and it is well worthwhile for you to become familiar at least with the major subdivisions in the sciences area. Most libraries are now moving away from a card catalogue to a microfiche catalogue. In the Gippsland Institute Library, all newly purchased books are catalogued on the microfiche, and older book stock is gradually being transferred across from the card catalogue. This is the Gippsland Institute microfiche catalogue, and you can see immediately one of the main advantages of this type of catalogue, the much smaller space requirement. The catalogue again is subdivided into 3 sections which are colour-coded for authors, titles and for subjects. The microfiche is displayed in a special magnifying projector which, with a little practice, is quite easy to use. However, whether you're using the card catalogue or the microfiche catalogue, there are still some traps which can be both time-consuming and frustrating. Lynn is seeking a book with the title Data for Science and Technology. She's not sure whether the library holds this book, nor the author's name or names. She's already checked the card catalogue for that title without any luck. Since the book may well have been purchased since 1980, the next step is to try the microfiche catalogue. Again, she uses the title section and soon locates the listing for the book and notes down its Dewey classification. Armed with this, she goes to the shelves. However, she cannot locate the book. We've all had this experience. Many of us would give up at this stage or come back and check again tomorrow. Lynn decides to recheck the microfiche once more before doing this, just in case she missed anything. When she does so, she notices the letter Q alongside the Dewey number. Checking her study guide, she finds that this symbol indicates that the book is larger than the normal size and too large to fit on the normal shelves. The librarian quickly directs her to the area set aside for these oversized books, and she soon has the reference she needs. A table in your study guide explains the various symbols that indicate something special about the location or the availability of a book. Many students, unsure about how to use the catalogue or experiencing difficulty with it, revert to trying to search the shelves to find a particular book. That may succeed sometimes, but it is a very inefficient and frustrating way of trying to locate books. One of the main reasons for that is the fact that as new stock is added to the library shelves, the position of the books is actually changed, so that a book that was on a particular shelf in a certain bay last month is likely now to have moved some distance away. The next section of the library, which is of particular importance to you, is the reference collection. This section contains data books, handbooks on methodology, dictionaries, encyclopedias, abstracting services, and other sources of specialised information which you may need to consult regularly. You may wonder why these sources are housed in a separate section of the library and are not available for borrowing. One reason is because they are in demand by a large number of students. Also, they are usually the type of reference from which you will need to obtain 1 or 2 items of information rather than to read for hours. There isn't time in this videotape to give you directions to all of the different types of book contained in the reference section. We simply want to show you some of the ones which will be of general use to you no matter what your area of study. Perhaps the first reason you might need to use the reference section is to obtain information about a book which is not held by this library. Before attempting to obtain the book from another library or to purchase it, you should have complete information about the book. Its exact title, the author or authors' names and initials, whether there's more than one edition, and the year of publication of the book. This publication here, for books published in the United States of America, and this one for books published in Britain, contain full information on all books from recognised publishers which are currently in print. If you are seeking similar information about a journal, sometimes also called a serial or a periodical, this is the directory you'll need to consult. Ulrich's International Periodicals Directory contains information both by title and by subject area on a very large number of journals published in a wide range of fields. The publisher's name and address, the frequency of publication, and even the cost of a subscription are included in the directory. Some journals are not published on a regular monthly or quarterly basis. They may only appear once a year, or in the case of the proceedings of some conferences, perhaps only once every 2 years. In that case, the Ulrich's Irregular Serials and Annuals directory is the one to consult, and it again contains full information on that type of journal. The reference collection also includes a large range of guides to the literature. You may need to consult these in conjunction with your course textbook during the 1162 course. Another very important item in the reference collection is the abstracting or indexing service. Abstracting services consist of short summaries or abstracts of a large number of recently published articles in a particular field. Indexing services are similar, but usually provide less information on each article. These services are a very useful way for us to catch up on what's been happening in a particular field recently, or even over a longer period of time. For example, the Engineering Index Annual publishes each year some 95,000 summaries of technical reports, research articles, and other items of information published in the engineering area. On the local scene, the Australian Science Index covers work published specifically in Australia, and the CSIRO Index covers material published by CSIRO personnel. Since 1977, these two indexes have appeared not in paper form, but instead on microfiche, and that's a change in scientific publishing about which we'll have more to say later in the course. The final section of the library to which I want to introduce you in this videotape is the Journals or Periodicals collection. This is just a small sample of the range of titles to which a library, particularly a technical library, might subscribe. And again, it is possible to waste a lot of time trying to locate a particular journal article if you don't understand the system by which the journal collection is organised. The Gippsland Institute Library catalogues its journals not in the card or microfiche catalogue, but on this computer-generated listing, several copies of which are available in the library. Each journal held by the library is listed alphabetically by title and shelved according to its Dewey Decimal classification. For instance, the International Journal of Mechanical Sciences is catalogued under PER for periodicals, with the Dewey number 621 and the first three letters of the title, INT. However, the computer listing contains some other information which is very important. On the right-hand side of the page, there is another set of numbers. These indicate the volumes and years of this journal held by the Gippsland Institute Library. In this case, volume 17, 1975, to volume 23, 1981. Often, this part of the entry will be shown in this form, indicating that the library's holdings of that journal extend from volume 21, 1976, to the present. That is, the Institute has a current subscription to the journal. Other entries appear like this. with one portion of the holdings listed alongside an S. This indicates that, because of the inevitable shortage of shelf space, some volumes of the journal have been stored elsewhere, in stack as the library calls it. If you need to consult one of these volumes, you must fill in a stack request form, and the library staff will retrieve that volume for you to use, usually within a day. The same system operates in most libraries. So again, develop the habit of checking the journal listing before going to the shelves. One problem that commonly arises is that you need to consult a journal or a particular issue of a journal which is not held by your library. How do you find out where that journal is held, and how do you obtain access to it? To answer those questions, we need to go back to the reference collection. This is, as you can see, a very large and a very comprehensive catalogue. Produced by the CSIRO and called Scientific Serials in Australian libraries, it lists the title, the holdings and the location of every scientific journal in any significant library anywhere in Australia. For instance, Margot is interested in a paper which appeared in the Journal of Computational Physics. She's found that our library does not hold this journal, so she consults Scientific Serials for information. After a little searching, she finds a listing for the journal, with these hieroglyphics alongside. Having used this reference before, she is able to translate these and establish that the particular volume she needs is held by the La Trobe University, Monash University, and the CSIRO Division of Applied Organic Chemistry in Melbourne. If the journal had not been listed in the printed volume, Margot would have checked the microfiche supplements which have been used since 1976 to update SSAL. A new system called NUCOS, or National Union Catalogue of Serials in Australian Libraries, was introduced in 1984. This system will gradually replace SSAL. So far, so good. But how can Margot get access to the journal itself? By filling in a form and giving it to the librarian, Margot can obtain a photocopy of the paper she needs from, say, Monash University under the Interlibrary Loan Scheme, a cooperative arrangement between all the major libraries. Within a week or two, she will have the paper she is seeking. This interlibrary loan system also enables books from other cooperating libraries to be borrowed. In this way, you have access to every major library in Australia if you need it. There is one other information resource I have not mentioned yet, and that is the library staff. If you have a question you cannot answer for yourself, please don't be afraid to ask the library staff in whichever library you're using. Without exception, they enjoy nothing more than assisting someone to obtain information from their library. I hope this videotape, together with the study guide and the assignment guide on using the library, will help to achieve our aim of making you an intelligent and aggressive user of the scientific literature.